Good morning, everyone. I hope you are fit and fine. Today, in this video lecture, we are going to focus on critical appreciation of the poem A Time to Believe. Already, we had completed explanation part of it, and now we are going towards the critical appreciation. Critical appreciation is very important part of the poem. Whenever you are learning any one of the poem, you have to think about two levels. In the first, you have to think about what the poet would like to tell us. That is the explanation part. And on the second level, you have to think about which kind of the figures of speech used by the poet, what kind of the rhyme scheme he or she has used, and central idea, then name of the poet, title, what it indicates, and so many things are there. So, in this video, I would like to tell you that how to gain 5 out of 5 marks in this point. So, let's focus on this point. So, in 10 standard syllabus, or you can say in 10 standards question paper, in question number 3b, we have this particular point, that is the textual poems critical appreciation. And whenever you are doing it, you have to think about 5 major aspects of the poetry. And which are these aspects? Let's see. So these are the 5 aspects on which you have to think. The first one, title. You have to mention the title, then poet, the name of the poet, rhyme scheme, what kind of the rhyme scheme poet has used. The fourth point, that is the figure of speech. It is expected that you have to explain at least one figure of speech in this point. The last point, that is the theme or central idea. This is the major point here. For this point, you have total 2 marks. So if you have written title correctly, you will get half mark. If you have written the name of the poet correctly, you will get half mark. Rhyme scheme, you have to find out the correct rhyme scheme of each and every stanza, and then you have to mention there. Next point, figure of speech. Already I have discussed, if you have written it and explained it correctly, you will get 1 mark. And last point, if you have written theme or central idea correctly, you will get 2 marks. But in theme or central idea, it is expected that at least you should write 2 to 3 sentences, which should be grammatically correct. So after this, I'm going to show you that how to do critical appreciation. So this is the sample appreciation. So let's see. So let's see. Now just think about the present poem, A Time to Believe. Already you know the title, you know the name of the poet. So the first point and the second point you will get in the question paper itself. So this is not the big task to find out the name of the poem and name of the poet. So let's see. The title of the poem, A Time to Believe, is suggestive of the theme of the poem. I have added some more information because I would like to create the impression on examiner's mind. So the poem is an optimistic, it gives us message to believe in ourselves. If you written like that, you will get half mark easily. Next one, poet. So you know it very well that who has written this poem. So the poem has been written by J.B. Morbitzer, a famous poet of 19th century. So 19th century, in this century, J.B. Morbitzer has written the poems. Rhyme scheme. So now we are going to write down the rhyme scheme in detail. The rhyme scheme of the poem is stanza 1, 2, 3 and 4. In these 4 stanzas, we have the rhyme scheme which is A, B, C, D. In the next stanza, that is stanza number 5, you will get the rhyme scheme of A, B, C, C. And the last stanza, stanza number 6, in which you will get A, B, C, D, E. How to find out the rhyme scheme? You know it very well. because you have learned how to find out the rhyme scheme in previous standard. It is based on the rhyming words or the rhyming pairs in the stanza. So now we are going towards the next point, that is the fourth point, figure of speech. And I have taken one example of alliteration. Alliteration and repetition. You have learnt these figures of speech in previous standard. So I'm going to focus on alliteration now. So let's see. When it is time to pick up the pieces and begin again. Why here we have alliteration? Because the sounds of the letters t, p and o have been repeated for poetic effect. For example, when it is time to pick, time to, t sounds repetition is there. Pick up the pieces and begin again. Here also remember the p sound is repeated, that is pick up and pieces. So poet would like to create poetic effect in his or her poetry, and so due to that he has used different kinds of the figures of speech. The last point, theme or central idea of the poem. So the central idea of the poem is one must believe sincerely, imagine that which has never been imagined before, trust in the creator's plan, and realize that one has immense potential to realize one's dreams. So we have that much potential in ourselves to fulfill our wishes, to fulfill our dreams. So this is all about critical appreciation of the poem A Time to Believe. If in this way you have written the critical appreciation, I will guarantee you, you will get 5 out of 5. So always follow this pattern. Now after this we are going to discuss which major figures of speech used by the poet in A Time to Believe. So here the first figure of speech we are going to discuss, already we have discussed little bit about it. Once again I'm going to take another example, that is and dreams really do come true. So here we have the alliteration, because here we have the repetition of the sound, that is d sound. Dreams do, d d. So, what is alliteration? Let me remind you once again that alliteration is the conspicuous repetition of identical initial consonant sounds in successive way. So, these sounds are consonants, not the vowel sounds. So, this is the repetition of the consonant sounds. For example, here I have taken one famous example of alliteration. Sheep should sleep in a shade. So, here red colors, yes, you will see at the beginning of each word. That is s sound. S is actually consonant sound. This is not a vowel. This is not a vowel sound. So, sorry, this is not a vowel. Sheep should sleep in a shade. S sound is repeated to create the poetic effect. So, this is called as alliteration. But the next figure of speech is little bit different. Repetition and alliteration, these are not the same things. In repetition, you will get the repetition of whole word, full word. So here I have taken one example. To believe is to find the strength. So which word is repeated here? That is to. This particular word is repeated for 2 times. And due to that, here we have repetition. So repetition means this is the simple repeating of a word within a short space of words with no particular placement of the words to secure emphasis. So it means this is the repetition of the whole word to create the poetic effect. Next figure of speech, here I would like to discuss with you, maybe this is the new for you, that is epigram. The pronunciation of this word is epigram. What is an epigram? Let's see. An epigram is a brief, witty statement about a topic. It means in minimum words, if you are telling the maximum meaning, maximum kind of the truth, so that is called as epigram. And in this poem, we have one example of epigram. We are never alone. So in this particular statement, the poet wittily told us about the ways of life. So this is a brief witty statement about the topic. And due to that, here we have the figure of speech which is called as epigram. So in this video, we had discussed about how to do critical appreciation of the poem as per the paper pattern. And also we have discussed about different figures of speech which was used by poet. So I have one suggestion for you. Whenever you have a new figure of speech, you have to write it in a good way and find out the more examples of that figure of speech. So this will help you to study in a good way. So with this concluding remark, I would like to stop here. Stay safe, stay home. Thank you very much.